محمد رسول الله.
I would never, ever give this up again. Never, ever would I, for no one, would I give up Islam. I grew up as a Catholic, in the Catholic religion as a child, and then I reverted back to Islam back in 1999. It was sort of religious in some ways. My father wasn't religious, but my mother was from a very religious background because her mother used to be a nun. So I was raised in Catholic schools and went to church every Sunday, that sort of thing. So was very familiar with all the stories in the Bible and everything. But I would say when I entered my teen years, I probably wasn't practicing, but I was looking for something. When I was going through a tough time in my life and really was struggling with doing a lot of drinking and partying and things, and I remember from one night in my despair, I fell down to the ground and asked God to help me. And it wasn't very long after that my journey started, because I met someone at a dance class, and we went for a coffee, and at that time I didn't know he was Muslim, and we started talking and we got onto religion, and he asked me if I believed that Jesus was the Son of God, and I said, of course Jesus is the Son of God, we're all children of God. I said, but he's not the blood son. And then he went, you've got the heart of a Muslim. And that was when my journey started, and I wanted to study about it, so I started going to the library and got introduced to Farid and Husna and things, and started having lessons, and within a few months I knew Islam was the right thing for me, and I converted to my Syahadat. So, Islam has a beauty. It's the one thing that probably grabbed me in my heart was it had an answer for all my questions. So every single question that I asked about Islam, and I would ask the same question as being a Catholic or whatever, Islam always had the answers. What happened to when we die? What are the stages of our death? What happens to us if we sin and things like this? And it was the peace that it gave me, and that's probably the biggest thing, and I feel extremely honoured to have been given the gift. You know, I feel like it's something so precious, and sometimes I feel sad when I see people don't realise how much of a gift it is. I suppose what interested me, it was complete. I suppose that's probably the biggest thing. It's a code of life, it's a code of belief, the Islam gets into every single piece of you. And if you trust in God and and the information that He's given us through the Sunnah and the Quran, is like, how would I describe it? It's the most beautiful contentment that I get from life now. If I struggle with something, I try to remind myself that trust in Allah. So He knows best. So all the struggles we've gone through over the last few years has probably been the biggest test of my faith, you know, because it's been hard losing Husna and seeing Shifa not have her mum, has been the biggest struggle for me, I suppose. And then I just remember that Allah has got Husna up in paradise, and it's us that have got to move on, live on, and she's up there happy, no sickness, nothing, and then I feel happy. So when I first accepted Islam, I think it was probably a struggle for myself as well as other people, in the sense that anyone that I knew did not like that I accepted Islam. I lost the majority of my friends except for one special one, and then my mother and we probably didn't talk very much because she wanted me to be Catholic again, and so it took almost probably 15 years before she accepted that I'd accepted Islam. And I think it was just because, as a concern as a parent, is it a cult? Is it something she needs to be worried about, and things like this. So over the time, with me just practicing my faith and praying it 5 times, and whenever I go stay with her and she would see this and see how I would treat people and everything else, she relaxed and is happy that I'm happy. So that's the biggest joy for me. So yeah, Islam changed my life by giving me happiness. I was probably going through depression and things before I found Islam, and I would never ever give this up again. Never ever would I, for no one would I give up Islam. It's like I told Mum the story about, one of the followers went to the Prophet to ask who was the most important person that in our lives, and he said, your mother. And he said it 3 times before he said it going to your father. I told this to my mother once, and she asked me, if I'm so important, why don't you give Islam up for me? And I says, you are the most important person to me on this earth, but Allah is the most important being for my life, and I need to believe in Him to be able to reach paradise. So I will, so that was something I would never give it up, because of the beauty and the love I feel, and knowing what Allah will reward us with in paradise is something I don't think anyone would want to give up. The decision to wear my hijab, that's been a struggle over the years. I actually started wearing it straight away after I converted, but then 9/11 happened, and my husband at the time said to stop wearing my hijab because I was being abused on the streets, kicked at, sworn at, spat at, and it wasn't very nice, and I was unsafe. So he said to stop wearing it. So I stopped wearing it for quite some time, and then must be now about 6 or 7 years ago, I was ready. I wanted to wear it again, and I remember wearing it to work one day, and people would look and were sort of wondering, so then they didn't say much, but then the next day I wore my hijab again, and they go, is this a fashion thing? It's like, so I was going, this is part of my faith, my religion, and so then it would start opening up questions in the cafe and things, and now it's like absolutely people accept me for wearing my hijab, and it's good. I think what Islam can offer to everyone, all of us, regardless if we believe or not, Islam, we can give people a respect, the dignity that they deserve, a truth, and Islam can offer a contentment with themselves, with their lives, and a happiness that it took me out of depression, and Islam is if you believe in it, it can keep you away from that dark depression. So Islam has an answer for everything and a treatment for everything, and it's the beauty of it that I love. Being a Kiwi Muslim does have its struggles, so I have over the years, because you're sort of in two worlds. So you're in this Western culture, and then you're in this Islamic culture, and obviously some of the Islamic culture does not abide by some of the Western culture, like, you know, going to bars and drinking and clubbing and things. And so it's trying to find a happy medium between it, and that we can all be together without judging one another on our different things that we need or want or enjoy to do. And I have found that if I actually say if I'm uncomfortable about something, so like at work, when I work, you know, sometimes they will do a Christmas do or something like that, where one time they did it at the races. So I said, well, I can't go to the races, but they said they were going to do a dinner first. So I went to the dinner and then left while they went for the races. So I tried to compromise, and they also compromised, and it's wonderful, because now my work, they would always buy me a ginger beer for a drink while everyone else is having alcoholic drinks, you know. And so it's taken a long time to feel comfortable on saying things if I'm uncomfortable about it, or if they're feeling uncomfortable. And I'd like to ensure that people, like at work, feel comfortable to come and talk to me, you know. And so now it's really good, because when we have lunches and things, they will ask me what is it that I can eat and things like that. And you know, even now, like before, when I first converted, I was too scared to ask if I could pray at work, you know. And I think this is a big struggle for Kiwi Muslims here in New Zealand, is being able to pray at work. And one day I asked my workplace, I said, can I pray in a meeting room? And they said, of course you can. So I said, can we put a curtain or something on the door, you know, so for privacy. And they did. They put a curtain on the door and they allowed me to pray. And then the next office we went to, they end up putting that opaque stuff on the door, you know, so that you've got privacy. And now, alhamdulillah, we actually have a prayer room in our workplace in all our offices. So it's the acceptance from New Zealanders, and you know, the company I work for is Australia and New Zealand. So the way they accept and, you know, help people who have certain faiths to be able to practice their faith without feeling judged or anything in the workplace is fantastic. So the more we can actually communicate actually helps to bridge all those, you know, bridges, you know, because if we don't communicate, they don't know what we need and we don't know what they need, and it's important that we can communicate together.